Hello, hello. How are we doing? I just finished work and my goal is to start posting yoga flows on YouTube. So, this is my first video. Um I have not planned anything. We're just going to freestyle and do like a 10-ish minute flow for if you've been sitting all day like I have. So, here we go. First, we're going to get started in child's pose. So, knees out wide, big toes to touch, hips go down and back, and arms lengthen long. Deep breath in. Each breath bigger than the last. Go ahead and fill up. Notice your chest rising. Maybe walk your fingertips out a little more. Exhale, sink back down. 2 more like that. We're going to push up into tabletop. And take a cat cow here. So let the belly drop, gaze goes up. And then the other way. Gaze goes down towards the knees, arch through the back. We're going to come to a flat back and just reach your left leg out long beside you for gate pose. You can stay right here. You can play around with your foot, rotating the hip in the socket, or you can press it back, maybe feel a little hamstring stretch here, whatever feels best to you. I tend to like to kind of rock in this pose recently. And take deep breaths, really trying to just let the mind be present on the mat. Let everything from earlier in the day, or maybe if you're thinking about the future, just fade away. And we'll replace that leg, come back into tabletop, and go to the other side. Straighten the right leg out. And again, you can take those hip movements, the leg movements, twisting the hip in the socket, however you want to express this pose, do that. Keep breathing. And then we'll replace that leg back behind us. Take a cat-cow, let the belly fall, gaze goes up, and arch through the back. Now from here, we're going to lift our hips for downward facing dog. Maybe walk your feet forward a little bit or back a little bit, however feels comfortable. And then just pause here. Notice how your body feels. For me, this is a huge stretch through the back of the legs. So maybe you feel something there or elsewhere. Just pause and notice. Take a deep breath in and out. Now I encourage you to find some movement option to bend deep into one knee, maybe even lift a foot up and go into a calf stretch here. I like to kind of place my lifted foot behind my heel. I feel a really nice deep stretch in my calf that way. And you can always switch sides whenever you feel ready, or continue bending into one knee and then the other. Keep breathing. And then we're going to walk our hands back towards our feet. Step the feet out wide. Maybe your feet go out point towards the outside of your mat. I like to do that a little. And then we're going to come into Malasana Yogi Squat. Your hands can come to prayer and your elbows can push into your knees, opening up the legs, opening up the hips. Maybe you close your eyes here. Take a deep breath in and out. Another like that, breath in and out. Slowly release your hands down to the mat, and we're going to come stand up, forward fold. Feet can come face forward again. Maybe sway side to side. Option to reach for opposite elbow. This microphone was hitting me in the face. Sorry if you guys can't hear that or couldn't hear me very well. I haven't done this before. It's always great to try new things, right? One thing that I like to do in this pose is clasp my hands behind my head, around my neck. Really get heavy, let the head go. I find that even when I think I'm not holding on to anything, I'm still looking straight down at my mat versus letting my head, letting my neck hang nice and heavy. Keep breathing. 2 more breaths here. Letting the day roll away. And then we'll release your hands if you have them. Heel toe your feet together, or just go ahead and step them next to one another if that feels good. And then we'll lift, flatten our back. Hands can come to the shins. And fold. Roll up, mountain pose. Reach up, extended mountain. And then we're forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, walk the hands out into a plank pose. Woo! Slippery socks. And then we'll go ahead and lower down to the mat, however you want to get there. What we're going to do here once we're on our mat is we're going to reach our right arm out straight towards the right side. Plant the left hand into the ground beside you. And then we're going to flip on over, getting a nice stretch through the right shoulder. We're just going to stay here for some moments. You can leave this left hand here, however feels good. You can rotate it around your back. And then we're going to rotate to the other side. So our left hand will come back, bring the legs back, laying on the mat. Extend the left arm out long beside you. Plant the right hand. Lift the right leg up and over for that stretch in the left shoulder. Ooh, my back just cracked. Again, option to lift that right hand up and behind. Then we'll slowly unwind, come out of it. Ooh. This thing is so interesting. And then we'll push up into baby cobra, lifting the back up, using the back muscles to lift us rather than pushing in this one, getting some strength going in our upper back. Maybe we've been slunched over. Slunched, is that a word? You know, whatever. You know what I mean. Slumped over, sitting at a desk or sitting in a car. So counteracting that with this pose. And then we'll lower down. And then we'll push up into our plank pose. And without slipping this time, we will go into downward facing dog. Option to pedal it out here. Tabletop pose, bend the knees, and then we'll come onto our seat, swinging the legs around, setting up for a single leg forward fold. So we'll take the left foot, plant it into the right leg, wherever feels good. You know, if it only, wherever it ends up that day, doesn't matter. Now we're going to take this two ways. So my favorite for after I've been sitting is sort of like a rainbow, up and over. So we're going to go there first. So get comfy, get settled into your seat. And then I like to put my arm, whichever leg's long, that arm, inside of the leg, and then reach up and over like you're reaching over your body for your toes. So think about getting this left hip, if that, whatever knee's bent, that hip grounded into the mat, lengthening up and over like a big rainbow or something. And I don't know about you guys, but I feel it a lot, like around this hip. Maybe you feel it there, somewhere else. That's great. If you don't feel it at all, just focus on your breath. I find sometimes sitting in this pose, I can get kind of passive. So if you feel like that after a few breaths, again, try to reach even farther. And then I feel it. Oh, yeah. And we'll come back up. This time we're going to go the classic way, chest to knee. So if you want to reset in some way, and then we'll reach up, lengthen out of the hips. Think about your rib cage being lifted up off the hips. And then hinge forward. Wherever your hands land is great. And instead of, again, being passive and just kind of like slumping forward, I like to try to really think about not so much chest to leg, but chest to toes. So reaching, actively pulling my chest towards my toes, gives me at least a nice release in the low back. And as always, we keep breathing. And then we'll come out of that. We'll extend the left leg or whichever one you had long. And then we'll take reverse tabletop just to kind of counteract those forward folds. So we'll lift the hips up from here As you can maybe tell, I feel like my shoulders are super tight, and this pose always feels so weird to me, but I know it has so many benefits, strengthening the glutes, working on the shoulder flexibility, which I need, and then we'll lower down. And we'll switch sides. So put whatever leg you weren't doing. I am going in the right now, so bending my right leg in, and then we're going to go for that rainbow pose. So planting the hand wherever I like it on the inside of the leg, like I said, and lifting up and over. Pausing for a few breaths, noticing how this pose feels. And then actively reaching a little farther, seeing if that doesn't change anything. Two more breaths here. And then we'll slowly come up. Ooh. Resituate if needed. And then chest to leg or toes. Lift up and out of the hips. And go forward. Keep breathing. And we're not done yet, but I just want to thank you guys for being here, for moving your body, for connecting with your body and yourself, your higher self. It is not easy. There are definitely days where I don't want to do it, as I'm sure there are for you. But today we can say we did. So taking a deep breath in of gratitude for that, for one another, for yourself. Exhale. And we'll slowly come up. We'll take another heart opener from here. This time we're just going to take it down to the mat and do a bridge pose. Awesome spot for a block if you have one. I happen to have one just right there, so I'm gonna use it. So if you don't have a block, we're just gonna lift our hips. So really ground your shoulder blades down into the mat. You know how when people are like, oh, you have bad posture, and then you overcorrect and you go like, arr! Do that into the mat and then lift the hips up. Kind of just gives you a little more space, I feel like at least. And then press the hands into the mat. Maybe your hips can lift a little higher. And then from here, if you have a block, you can put that right beneath where your glutes meet your low back. If you like, kind of lift it up there. And you can take this more passively. Going to be here for about 5 breaths. One more breath in and out. Slowly come down. If you have that block, carefully remove it. And then one vertebrae at a time, lower on down. Okay, final pose before we finish. We're going to take a supine twist. So I like to shift my hips over to the left. Place your right leg over the left. So hips to the left, and then right leg goes over. And then let your knees just fall to the left side. Your arms can go out wide, They can do whatever feels good. Sometimes it feels nice to maybe press your knees down, get a little deeper into the twist that way, maybe. Head can be looking straight up or to the left or right. Generally, people go the opposite way of their knees with their head for like a full spinal wringing out. And if you're like me and your mind is still wandering, you're noticing your fan is dirty, you should clean that. Just take a deep breath in, and with the exhale, let all of those shoulds and need tos and have to do's melt away and just be present, be here for just a few breaths. Then we'll lift that knee up gently, carefully. Bring the hips back to center. Kind of reset. We'll lift the hips up and over to the left this time. Left leg goes over the right. So hips to the left. Oh my gosh, I think I may have said that wrong last time. Okay, well, I'm sure you did fine. Hips to the left, left leg over right, and then let your legs, your knees fall to the right. You know, for so long, I've been saying, oh, I want to like post on YouTube. I want to do this or do that. And, you know, I make up all these excuses, as I'm sure you can relate to, that, well, if I'm going to post a video on YouTube of me teaching yoga, I need to have a good sequence, and I need to go put on my leggings and make sure, oh, my hair's dirty, I can't do it today, and blah, blah, blah. And like, oh, they're going to see the weights in the background, and all these excuses, you know, all these reasons why I can't or I'm not good enough. And who knows, maybe I will hate this and I'll stop doing it. But hopefully you can take away that you literally do not need anything to start living the life you want. You just have to start. And I don't know, after work today, I kind of just was like, I don't need that. We'll bring our knees back up. So bring your knees back up gently. We're going to come into Savasana. So you can either take it legs just nice and long and straight, arms by your side, or I like sometimes to take Savasana in Supta Baddha Konasana pose. So soles of the feet are together, knees out wide. And again, you can have your hands down by your side, out to the side, up, on your heart, wherever you want. Just take a really short Savasana, you know, like 5 breaths. We're going to be here. Just again, in a moment of gratitude for connecting with your body today, moving your body, getting out your mat. I know that the world we're in, it's so hard sometimes to feel like we've done enough. And it's crazy because those little things stop us sometimes from even doing something small. Just like I was saying earlier with even posting this video. Oh, I can't post a yoga video in sweatpants. No, my hair's dirty. I can't. Like, all these reasons. Stretching for 10, 15 minutes, that's not a workout. Okay, well, you know, if you couldn't do that, you would be so, so grateful that like today you did. If someday in the future you couldn't, roll out your yoga mat and just stretch for a few minutes. But we often use those as excuses. Well, it's not me running for 2 miles, or it's not me breaking a sweat or something. So just recognizing that sometimes when we think it's not enough, it stops us from even doing anything. And realizing that when we can, that we're doing that, we're stopping ourselves even from a small bit of movement, a small bit of gratitude, a small step in the direction we want to be in, because it's not the big step we think we should be taking. So if you have been here, if you watched this whole video, we're going to bring our knees back together. If you have them out wide, we're going to roll up to a seat. You can keep your eyes closed or soft gaze. Hands will come to heart center. I like to reach up, take a deep breath in, and lower on the exhale. Like I was saying, just pausing here in a moment of gratitude for taking the 10, 15, however long this has been, minutes, for rolling out your mat, for connecting with your body, for doing something even when you feel like it may not be enough. Because the truth is we are enough, and we did do something. The light and love in me sees and honors that same light in each and every one of you. Thank you for being here.